there is an animal alive on this planet that cannot be killed. There is another one that shoots blood from its eyes as a defense mechanism, another that survived 5 mass extinctions and still walks the ocean floor today, and one so strange, so completely unlike anything your brain has ever filed away, that the first scientists to see it thought it was a hoax. You were taught about lions, tigers, bears, maybe a few sharks. But here's the uncomfortable truth: we have barely scratched the surface of life on this planet. Scientists estimate that over 80% of Earth's species have never been documented, never been named, never been seen by human eyes. What that means is simple and a little terrifying. The world you think you know? It's a fraction of the real one. Today, we're going deeper. 8 animals that evolution apparently designed while in an experimental mood. Creatures so bizarre, so biologically outrageous, that by the end of this video, your entire understanding of what the word animal even means will be permanently upgraded. And stick around, because the last one on this list doesn't just break the rules of biology. It breaks the rules of death itself. Let's start somewhere uncomfortable. The goblin shark has existed for 125 million years. This creature was alive when dinosaurs were still figuring things out. And in all that time, it saw absolutely no reason to change. Here's where it gets unsettling. Its jaw doesn't just open, it launches. The goblin shark has a slingshot jaw that projects outward from its face at high speed to snatch prey. Scientists call it slingshot feeding. We call it the reason some of us don't swim in the ocean. It lives in deep water, rarely seen, almost never filmed. Which means, for millions of years, this nightmare has been down there in the dark, minding its own horrifying business. Quick question: what's the longest animal on Earth? If you said blue whale, you're wrong. And honestly, you should feel slightly betrayed by your biology teacher. The giant Siphonophore can stretch up to 160 feet long. That's longer than a Boeing 747. But here's the part that will genuinely rewire something in your brain: it's not one animal. It's thousands. A Siphonophore is a colony of individual organisms, each one performing a specific job. Some swim, some digest, some sting. None of them can survive alone. Together, they form something that functions as a single creature. A living superorganism drifting through the deep ocean, hunting, sensing, surviving as one. Think about that the next time you feel like you need to do everything yourself. Change of scenery. We're out of the ocean now, but things are about to get equally weird. The horned lizard of North America. Small, quiet, looks like a tiny prehistoric pancake with legs, completely harmless looking. Until something threatens it. Then it does something that sounds completely made up, but I promise you is absolutely real. It squirts blood from its eyes. Not a little. Up to 1/3 of its total blood volume, ejected as a pressurized stream up to 5 feet away. The blood also contains chemicals that are chemically repulsive to wolves and coyotes. So, just to recap, this lizard, when scared, weaponizes its own blood. From its eyes. Like a tiny desert-dwelling horror film. And you thought you handled stress badly. Remember at the very start of this video, when I told you there was an animal alive right now that cannot be killed? Here it is. The tardigrade, also called the water bear, is less than 1 millimeter long. You've walked past billions of them today without knowing it. But do not let the size fool you. This animal has survived all 5 of Earth's mass extinctions. It can endure the vacuum of outer space. It can withstand radiation levels that would kill a human 1,000 times over. Scientists have frozen tardigrades for 30 years, thawed them out, and watched them walk away. When conditions get extreme, tardigrades enter a state called cryptobiosis. They expel all their water, curl into a tiny ball, and exist in something that is not quite life and not quite death. They have been found at the top of the Himalayas and in the deepest ocean trenches. If the sun exploded tomorrow, there is a real scientific argument that tardigrades would survive. 8 legs, no brain, completely indestructible, and somewhere on your bathroom tile right now. Now something beautiful. Something that looks like it was designed by an artist who had never seen an ocean and just went with their gut. The blue dragon is a sea slug roughly the size of your thumbnail. It floats on the ocean's surface, belly up, carried by wind and current. Its coloring is so vivid, so electric, it looks like a piece of living jewelry. But here's what makes it genuinely remarkable. The blue dragon hunts the Portuguese man-o'-war, one of the most venomous creatures in the ocean. It eats the tentacles, and instead of being killed by the toxins, it stores them, concentrating the venom in its own body to use as a weapon. This beautiful, tiny, thumbnail-sized creature is more venomous than the predator it eats. Lesson learned: never judge something by how pretty it is, especially in the ocean. We're in Madagascar now, and it's dark, which is exactly when the ii comes out. The ii is the world's largest nocturnal primate. It has constantly growing rodent-like teeth, enormous dish-shaped ears that can detect sound through solid wood, and one finger, the middle one, that is skeletal, elongated, and almost horrifying to look at. It uses that finger to tap on trees, listening for hollow spots where larvae hide. Then it gnaws a hole and hooks the grubs out. In Madagascar, local superstition says the ii is a harbinger of death. Some tribes believe that if one points its long finger at you, your death is imminent. As a result, they've been persecuted for centuries. The truth, of course, is that it's just a primate doing primate things in the dark. But let's be honest, if you were walking through a forest at night and something with those eyes and that finger appeared in your flashlight beam, you'd probably have some superstitions too. Here's one that science is genuinely obsessed with, and for good reason. The naked mole rat looks like a small, wrinkled thumb with teeth. It lives underground in East Africa in colonies that function like insect hives, one queen. Workers, soldiers, it almost never sees sunlight. None of that is the interesting part. The interesting part is this: naked mole rats do not get cancer. In decades of research, scientists have not found a single confirmed case of cancer in a naked mole rat. Their cells contain a compound that physically prevents tumors from forming. They also live up to 28 years longer than any rodent of comparable size and show almost no biological signs of aging for the vast majority of their lives. An elderly naked mole rat is physiologically almost identical to a young one. Cancer researchers, anti-aging scientists, biologists worldwide, they are all studying this animal right now. The cure to cancer might be hiding in a tiny, bald, underground-dwelling creature that looks like your worst nightmare. Pay close attention now, because that last animal I promised you at the very beginning? We're almost there, and here we are. The animal that breaks the rules of death. Turritopsis dohorni, known as the immortal jellyfish, is about the size of a fingernail. It lives in the ocean. It looks like nothing special, and it is everything. When this jellyfish is threatened by disease, starvation, or physical damage, it does something no other multicellular animal on Earth can do. It reverts. Its cells transform back to their earliest state. It becomes a juvenile again, restarting its entire life cycle from the beginning. This process is called transdifferentiation, and it is, theoretically, without limit. The jellyfish can do this indefinitely. Biologists have called it biologically immortal. Not immortal the way a rock is immortal. Immortal the way a flame stays alive by constantly renewing itself. Right now, as you watch this, there are immortal animals drifting in the world's oceans. Not myths, not metaphors. Real, documented, scientifically verified biological immortality. And we almost missed them entirely. 8 animals. Each one stranger than the last. Each one quietly doing something extraordinary while we go about our days, convinced we understand this planet. A shark jaw that fires like a slingshot. A 160-foot creature that is somehow not one creature. A lizard that weaponizes its own blood. An animal that nothing can kill. A sea slug more venomous than its prey. A primate that folklore says predicts death. A rodent that might hold the key to curing cancer. And a jellyfish that simply keeps starting over. Here's what all of this comes down to. None of it was discovered by accident. Someone had to look. Someone had to go to the deep ocean, the desert, the forest at night, and ask what else is out there. That curiosity is the most human thing we have, and the planet keeps rewarding it. There are millions of species still unnamed, still unseen, still doing things we haven't thought to imagine. So the next time someone tells you the world is fully mapped, fully explored, fully understood, remember the jellyfish that lives forever. If you want more of what science is quietly hiding in plain sight, subscribe. Because we're just getting started.